And the topic choose is how can, that means the question is, how come money, money or something physical can get us atonement or kapara or such of. So let's Bichlal address, oops, I was about to close the session. So let address the issue of Sheqalim altogether. So first of all, the parasha that we're going to start, a special parasha of Sheqalim is one of the 4 parashiot that that are, this is not good. It's keep popping in and Jack, what you doing? Okay. So Parashat Sheqalim is one of the 4 parashiot from, let's say, the end of Shevat usually, because it's before Rosh Chodesh Adar, to up to Nisan, close to Pesach. There are 4 parashiot. One parasha is Sheqalim, the first one, happened to be read before Shabbat, before Rosh Chodesh. This year Shabbat is Rosh Chodesh, so we're going to read on Shabbat. It could happen that it's at the end of the month of Shabbat. Then you have Parashat Zachor, that's been read just before Purim, Shabbat before Purim. Obviously, the relation is very clear. Zachor et asher asa lecha Amalek. Remember the anti-Semitic act of violence that Amalek did at the time. And Haman and the story of Purim is also related directly to this kind of anti-Semitism. And not only that Haman himself come from Amalek. So that's why Zachor, the mitzvah deoraita, to remember and to remember Zachor Deshasan Amalek and to wipe up Amalek is mitzvah deoraita. But the way that we have to do it, reading the Torah, is Hachamim establish it. So we doing a reading, a special reading before Purim, and then you have Parashat Para. Para is already a preparation to Pesach. We're going to eat the Korban Pesach. We're going to eat the Korban Pesach. It has to be on purity. Parashat HaChodesh, sometimes the Rosh Chodesh itself, is related to the beginning of the Chodesh Nisan and anticipating Pesach. So those are the Arba Parashiot special. We're starting with Sheqalim, and the reason is because from the beginning of Rosh Chodesh, they announced the Sheqalim. They announced the campaign of giving a half shekel. Why is that campaign of giving a half shekel? So the announcement was done by who? The announcement was done by the Bedin, meaning that was a public campaign who came up. So to launch the campaign, how they did it. So some opinions say this is the way that this was done. It was done by reading Parashat Sheqalim. When you came to the places in the synagogue and you heard that they're reading Parashat Sheqalim, that the campaign is up and to launch the campaign. I say it's 2 different things. The reading came as remembering that mitzvah of that we had to give a mahasita shekel. But the campaign was done differently. The campaign was done by people who went to all campuses and declared the launching of it, making a drive or launching a campaign, and they starting receiving the donation from the beginning, from the middle of the month of Adar, in order to educate that money to the purpose of the Bet HaMikdash. We're going to see that in a moment. So interesting to say that one of the bases of the Jewish ethics, of the Jewish moral, of the Jewish approach to life is giving. And we're starting, and Parashat Sheqalim is a moment to teach us about giving and the importance that we have in the giving. Let's stop for a moment. We're going to have Parashat Terumah in these 4 parashiot from now, literally talking about giving to the poor, giving ma'asrot, And for us, it's going to be giving for Terumot, Bet Hamikdash, Bet Knesset in our days. A Jewish nation have been educated to be givers. What is this basis? Why it's so important to be a giver? What is that a foundation of our moral and ethical system? So the moral system of Israel, Rambam said it, and you can find it on many others, but Rambam clearly is, what is the goal of a Jew? The goal of a Jew in this world is the Vekud Bashem, is to get closer and to get bond with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's our goal. The Torah is helping us to get bond, to get closer to Borei Olam. In other words, what we need to do in this world is to close the gap that is between the creature, we, and the creator, God. So in order to close that gap, in order to resemble more to him, the more I get close to him, the more I understand him, I am being nidbag, dovek, finding devekud b'Hashem, bonding with Hashem. By definition, a creature is a receiver. I am created, so I receive my life from outside. I am receiving everything from outside. The food is being also the sustenance of my life. I am a receiver. And by definition, the creator is the giver. He gave me life. He gave me life from outside to me. So there is a huge gap, from a giver and a receiver, a huge gap to be complete. So Rabbi Ashlag have a beautiful image to explain the process. He said, when we are born as babies, we are called mekabel al menat lekabel. We are completely dependent. We depend of some giver. We're receiving, only because we need to receive, and this is what we do. A baby need to receive love, food, changing diapers, etc. Everything is being done for him. As the child grow up a little, but still as a child, he learns that in order to receive, he should also give. He has some obligation. He have to behave. From him, there is the consequences. You have to do your homework. You have to give in order to receive. But still, receiving is the most important thing for him. Meaning what he does is in order to receive. He doesn't pay rent. Meaning he lives in the house, he eats in the house, he's receiving constantly, but we're expecting him in order to live the way that he's living, we're expecting him to give his part of the share. So, but at the same time, we're teaching that young boy or a girl, that kids, we're teaching them to be in love with the giving, to love giving. When you are in love with the giving, how you do that? By seeing the pleasure that your parents and the family and the environment, your teacher, everything have such an investment in you that you see, must be that giving is something so great. And the more he loved the concept of giving, and the more you educate him to that, he became a teenager. And a teenager, or maybe even post-teenager, when you're talking about big ideals, you want to transform yourself from the one who was mekabel al menat lekabel, receiver in the name of receiving, the baby. Now you are a receiver, but you have a giver because you want to receive. So through the processes, you learn to be an idealistic. I am giving because it's the proper thing to give. Completely idealist. And then you see that age, of the teen and plus, you have ideals that are able to devote themselves from a cause, to give from their money, their person, their time, the completely devotion. And you can see that on that age. By the way, I have it made me an impact many years ago. not so many years ago. In Bet Torah, we had my was a speaker who came to speak to young adults and college age, and he came and he was explaining what happening. We show a movie. The movie was the withdrawal from Gaza, from the Strip of Gaza, the Yeshuvim, the places that the Jews were living there, were giving out to the Palestinian Authority at the time, and they uproots people from their house. And what was the resistance of the people who were living there? Yeah, the resistance that they have only because they wanted to show the love that they have to the place of Eretz Israel. And the talk and the discussion was very nice, meaning I loved it, and I saw the interest of the young adults over there. When we were leaving, I spoke with a girl. I told her, "You like this? You like the conversation? You like the activity?" She said, "Very interesting. Make me think, Rabbi. There is nothing in my life that will be so important that I will be giving up my summer time. You ask me for anything that is not ideal enough in my life that I will be ready to give up my summer time, because all movie over there, documentary that we were showing was young people on her age that during the summertime he stayed to be in the beach, and he stayed to be with friends, he stayed to be in bars, he stayed to be drinking. They were there demonstrating, they were there closing themselves in houses, they were there breaking in order to be on the moment of the uproot. So, and crying and holding on. She said, there is nothing that is so dear for me that I will be giving up my summertime. Okay, so the more you love something, the more you enter to the ideal of loving, of giving, you are ready to give up your summertime and more than that. But there is a danger on that. If you stay only in the idealistic approach of life, only giving for the sake of giving, what is the big danger? First of all, an intellectual danger. You can become, I am like a God. I am myself God. I can give. I don't need to receive anything from anybody. I can be a full giver even of my own life. So that's make you maybe adore yourself or transform you on a kind of divinity. But not only that, you cannot live a life without receiving. You have to understand that somehow, yes, there is a stage on life that you want to be idealistic, but you have to be realistic at the same time. So the highest level now is learning at that stage to love to receive. Meaning, by receiving, value of receiving. A receiver is important by itself because he gave the opportunity to God to give me. When I am receiving and I am appreciating what I am receiving because it's coming from a higher place, a higher moral, ethical place than mine, so then I can come to the fourth stage, the one who receive in order to give. So you see the progression, to receive in order to be a giver. Yeah, that's not only on money. That's expressed, and you learn, you study in order to share with others. You develop a business in order to make society better. But then this is the higher stage when you find the perfect balance between giving and receiving. Why? Because this is how I close the gap with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I am resembling to you. I know that I need to receive, but the same way that I need to receive, I appreciate what I'm receiving, and therefore I want to share it as you doing, and I want to give it out. So this understanding, this education of giver, of being a giver, cannot start only, okay, I teach you to give, but it becomes essential and ideal in our moral approach. And this is what awake some sense of society, and not only ba'olam haba, ba'olam hazeh. Meaning you put the ideology and the ideals in translate in this own word. So in our life, we bring children. So bring children to the world is giving life to others, like giving knowledge. You teach them, you giving knowledge and spreading knowledge of Torah, whatever more to make them close to God. You collect money in your life because you need to live, because you need to eat. You collect money, but you give back money, and this is what it called tzedakah. And with the concept of tzedakah, I don't need to talk too much on the concept of tzedakah, but it's not a charity. Yeah, it's becoming an obligation. It's a justice. I cannot figure out my word without giving back. That doesn't make sense. And this is a way that you fill up the word with joy of life, appreciation of life, and of course, the next step is to have really happiness. I'm going to share. So that's the concept of giving mahatzit shekel. So I'm going to share from in a moment with you the pesukim. And let's go through it. You are with me, Jack? Okay. So Vaidaber Hashem and Moshe Lemor. Ki tisa, Hashem is talking to Moshe, Ki tisa et rosh bnei Israel ifkudehem. Whenever you're going to count, Ki tisa et rosh, count the heads of bnei Israel, nifkudehem, according to, they say here, the enrollment, according to the counting, Venatenu ish kofer nafsho. Each one should give to Hashem kofer nafsho, meaning a kind of ransom. Bifkod otam. Velo yeh bahem negev, and it will not be on them any negev, any plague, any magefa, any pandemic when we're going to count them. Zeyitenu, I'm reading the pesukim only because we're going to analyze them, but I want to read them first. Zeyitenu kol over al pikudim. This is what they have to give. Who? Over al pikudim, the one who are passing by on the moment of being counted. Mahatzit shekel, half shekel, b'shekel hakodesh, and what is teruma Hashem. That money goes to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to teruma, to a donation to Hashem. Kol ha'over al pikudim, everyone who passed by has to be ben 20 shana v'mala, 20 years old. He'ashir, now very, very bizarre. The rich person should not give more. The poor person should not give less. Teruma Hashem lechaper al nafshotechem. So one was a ransom. Second, we saw that we're giving the money for a ransom in order not to have a pandemic, an epidemic, or a plague, and also to lechaper, to be forgiven of our forgiveness, expiation to our souls.
It's a famous Gemara about his kofer kapara or mamon.
Yeah, okay, we're getting that, but paciencia. Velakachta et kesef hakipurim, and you're going to take this money with the money of expiation, me'ed bnei Israel, from bnei Israel, and you're going to give it to Ohel Mo'eda, you're going to give it to the tabernacle. So what is the money for? It's not for counting bnei Israel. Suddenly the money is necessary in Ohel Mo'ed, unless after counting bnei Israel, the money goes to the Ohel Mo'ed. Ve'aya libnei Israel, and now wait. It's not only that. It's not only when you give it to the Ohel Moed. They have a purpose. So that money, lezikaron lifnei Hashem. It's like a Yom Kippur. It's a reminder before the Lord. Yeah, to what? Lechaper al nafshotechem, as expiation, as atonement for your souls. So you see the concepts here are even confused. I really don't know why I'm counting Bnei Israel. Do I count Bnei Israel because I want to give them forgiveness, or in order not to get a plague, or the forgiveness is it's in order it's kofer nafsho, is a ransom, what is the purpose of all these Mahatzita Shekel? So when we're basing ourselves on those Pesukim, we first of all, we have to go to that there is, Rashi will bring it on the spot. There are three different opportunities that we calling you to give, and to give Mahatzita Shekel. The first one is Bismano, only at that time. It's not forever. It's specific for a certain timing, and was in the desert in order to build the Mishkan. When they were building the Mishkan, everybody has to give Mahatzita Shekel. Carlos, that was in order to be used for the Adanim, for the pillars. Meaning we participating all together, every Jew equal amount, in order to be part of the pillars of the Mishkan. So everyone give the same amount. So my problem is, okay, but what is the difference if I give more or you give less? Or not only that, so then why you limiting me? You are limiting me on half shekel. If I want to give, maybe you can make it more than half shekel, whatever it's need in silver in order to build the Adnei Mishkan. Well, you have to be exact on half shekel. Okay, so but this is one netina of half shekel. That's a question. The second netina, the second time that we have to give Mahatzita Shekel, that we have it, is when we're counting Bnei Israel. That's going to happen in our parashiyot. In Parashat Ki Tisa, just on the parashat that talking about Sheqalim, Bnei Israel are going to sin. What was the sin? The golden calf. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu, his goodness, gave us already the antidote. Yeah, after the golden calf, you're going to have a Negev, you're going to have a pandemic, you're going to have a plague, people are going to be dying. In order not to be dying, you have to be giver. The teshuvah of the golden calf will be the building of the Mishkan. And where in the building of the Mishkan, what better to give it to the Adanim? And then after that, I want to count you to see who left, who didn't die from that, from the story of the golden calf. So the counting, in order not to stop or not to have a pandemic or not to let the plague to continue, yeah, will be in order to stop it, not directly to stop it, yeah, but because of the plague that will happen, we're going to count you. So this is also for that time, but not only for the time that happened in the desert, but from now on, every time that you're counting a people. A third time that we're going to count people Bnei Israel will be in order that this money will go to the korbanot. You're going to collect half shekel, and this money will go for korban tamid. What is a korban? Korban is the sacrifice that will be for atonement daily. Korban tamid daily. So now I understand why Mahatzita Shekel is an atonement, because this money goes directly for the korban. And I am participating with the korban of the Klal Israel. So that's why I understand it's an atonement, because it goes directly to the korbanot. Yeah, so you see that there is three kind of aspect. Each one is covering one of the point that we mentioned. One is Adnei Mishkan, the pillars of the Mishkan. The second is counting Bnei Israel. And the third one was the money who goes to the for the Mishkan. My problem with all this explanation, classic explanation, that by the way, when you give me Mahatzita Shekel, in many communities they give 3 coins. Yeah, Zecher Mahatzita Shekel, 3 coins because 3 times is mentioned. So, but then I got completely confused when I am opening the book of Bamidbar. What is the name of the book of Bamidbar in English? Yeah. Numbers. Why? Because we were counted. And Rashi will ask me a big question there. He say, why are you counting them again? This is the 3rd time that we're counting them. Why are we counting them? Because God loves us. So simple like that. You count what you cherish. You have like this kid who counts his toys, or the same way you're counting what you're sharing, what you're loving. HaKadosh Baruch Hu somehow love to count us. Yeah, this is, you count again and again. But this seems to be very contrary of what we just learned now. The Torah sees a very dangerous action in counting. Lo yeh bahem negev. You have to count them in a specific way, because if not, you're going to have a plague. And matter of the fact, estoy en clase, mi rey, lo siento, unos 15 minutos más. That was a little bit urgent. So, sorry for the interruption. So, but here you see that counting Bnei Israel is not so simple. We play a big risk. And not only that, this is a theoretical risk. Happened centuries, you have David HaMelech counted Bnei Israel, anger from HaKadosh Baruch Hu at that point, and 70,000 people died. Yeah, that was, what is the love of Bnei Israel counting? It's involved a great risk. Not only that, what the Pasuk said, Ki tisa et rosh Bnei Israel. What is tisa? To lift the head, right? There is many words to call Ki tisa, to count people. Does it have nothing? This is very unusual to say counting is lifting the head. You could use lifkod, and by the way, we use lifkod, lispor, lahashor. We have a lot of words that have been used on the biblical word to talking about counting. So in order to understand what's going on here is the numbers, why they are important. Depending, in a society, the number could be been used as counting masses. Let me explain. You know, at the very beginning of history, we were families. And the family would build cities. And then the humanity spread in two kinds of activities. Yeah, shepherds, meaning working, and working the land. And by working the land, you build cities. And then you realize, yeah, and the development of the world, you realize that the city needs an order, a social order. And you need people to build, and you need people to defend it, and you need numbers. And your strength comes from numbers. And by the way, the few times that we see those numbers, yeah, are frightening. You have the Tower of Babel. They bring the masses and the numbers to build. And what happened? You know the result. And you have another place which is a great city to God, Sodom v'Amorah. Then you understand that you have a surplus because my numbers are producing a surplus. And then you're coming to close yourself, yeah, and to ignore the rest. And another one, when you have a big city or a big country or a big power, is Egypt. And what we see over there, taking advantage of people. Slavery, when you see the people as mass, for what? For strength, for military strength, or for economy. Yeah, that's what we see. So this is what the dangers are on looking at the people as masses. So the Torah is protesting against that view. Military, it's important to have a number. Political, of course you have the number. Yeah, 80 million versus 70 million make a difference of voters. Economy. So we, in our days, yeah, you look back, you take a distance. Yes, we were already educated that a person and a human being will have rights and have to be respected what it is. That's the hidush of the Torah. That's the hidush of the Torah. When I am counting you, I'm not counting you because the power that masses are bringing. I am not counting you as a military need that I have or as an economy. No, I am counting you individually because what the Pasuk was saying, because I love you, because every single human being, yeah, doesn't matter, he's poor, rich, powerful, not powerful. You are created on the image of God and you are complementing each other. And there is no way to negotiate the value of a human being. That's why a half shekel. Yeah, I have shekel and don't give me more because you don't have a price on it. That's a huge hidush that the Torah is giving by this act of mahatzita shekel. And they're all equal in front of the presence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And a census bringing a big risk to transform the numbers on power and to transform the numbers on looking at the mass and not the individual and taking away the face, the Rosh of Bnei Israel, the face. There is no face. I don't care about the face. You become a number in a census. And you know what that happened, right? We went the last century to a Holocaust.
The Holocaust, yeah.
Those faces became numbers. Yeah. So that's what the Torah is making clearly. A protest when you have counting Bnei Israel, yeah, nifkudehem naso, lift up the hand, show who they are, make them pass by, over ala pikudim. I want to see each one of you. Let me say more than that. Rashi said that the word, how did you count Bnei Israel? By counting the coins, right? Abravanel disagreed. Abravanel did know that the coin is the act. Let me say it in my English, okay? It's not how many you are. It's not about counting the people. It's in order to know with who I can count on. You can count on me because I put in my hand in the pocket and I say present. So each one who is passing by, he wants to be counted. He wants to be part of this action of Klal Israel. So over ala pikudim say Abravanel, no, you count the people on Rosh, every head, like Gulgolet, another pasuk would say it. Like Gulgolet, meaning you count Gilgalot, you count heads. You make them count. You make everyone feeling that he is part. By the way, you know, another counting that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has in the Mizmor of Tehillim, Mone Mispar LaKochavim. Continue. Vekulam Shemot Yikra. You see, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is counting the stars and he called them by name. He gives importance to each one of them. That is the nimnot. That is the mispar, the counting, not dehumanizing a person as they did in the extermination camps of the Nazis by putting names in our arms. So, and this is Kitisa. So let's continue. Another few minutes. Okay, Jack? No more than a few minutes. Kitisa et Rosh Bnei Israel ifkudehem. What does that mean to count? What does it mean to make it count? You know what? Let me share it because I have it in front of me and it's nice to read it together. A piece of Rabbi Cook. Rabbi Cook has a letter that he answered to a Hacham that wrote him a virulent, aggressive letters to the rabbi, telling him that how come you doing this wrong and that wrong, and you are too close to the non-religious people, etc. So the rabbi started his letter. I'm going to skip everything and concentrate on what I want to highlight here. Yeah, Michtav higi'ani b'mo'ado. Yeah, the letter of Hadrat Geono from the Gaon came to me on time. And I'm not upset with you. Meaning I'm reading, I'm not upset. Therefore, I'm gonna answer right now, because if I was a little upset, I have to wait for me to come down in order to answer to the point. But right now I can answer, I don't need to time. And then each of the point, and then he get to one of them. He said, and what you wrote to me about being surprised that I am bringing close, outreaching to everyone, even Poshei Israel, even the non-religious and Poshei Reshaim of Israel, I am reaching out to them to bring them b'tshuva, and you were surprised because the danger that I have to give them legitimacy. That was the letter. You talking to the kibbutzim, to the non-religious, they believe that you're giving them the legitimacy the way that they are. Reshaim, you have to tell them that you're wrong and period. So that was, and the rabbi said, you're surprised on me? Let me tell you. כתבתי לו ברמז כוונתי. I want to tell you that in a hinted way. שכל מי שהוא מוכשר לעשות בפנימיות רזי תורה, הוא מתמלא יותר מאור החסד של תורת החסד. The capacity, but the talent to enter, to understand, the talent to enter, to understand deeply Torah, so you get filled up with more of the feeling of Hesed, of giver, yeah. ועליו חובה לעשות, and then you feel, the more you have this talent to enter and to penetrate to the real Torah, you understand that you need to take care of the people who are following. בקירוב רחוקים, everybody counts. Even the one who are far, he doesn't say outreach, it's קירוב רחוקים, to far, get him closer. בלשון חכמי הסוד, and he said, according to Kabbalah, we call that likut nitzotzot. There are sparks. Every Jew has a spark. So you know what? Do the work for Hashem. Take the sparks and put them together. Yeah. Then continue the Rao. You found a question. Well, in Amidah, we said, there are worse than that. They say, you found a stira, a contradiction with what you say in the tefillah. Yasimna kevod geon libo. Please, kevodo, you are Talmid Chacham. Pay attention to my words. I'm going to explain to you. Lo belashon shel sitret, not mysteries. Shehoshem aliyot kvar yodea ve'eneno yodea bahem. That you, kevodo, you think that you know Kabbalah and you don't know. אבל בדברים פשוטים, let me explain it to you in a simple way. ואלו דברי אלוהים חיים. ידע הדרת גאונו. You should know, my dear Rabbi. Two things are making the sanctity of Bnei Israel. התקשרות האלוהית עמהם. Yeah, the connection with God is one, because segula. Segula means טבע הקדושה שבנשמת ישראל. Doesn't depend on you. You are born with the neshama of a Jew. You have a segula. I'm segula. Not, don't think that you're superior. No, you're responsible. That's it. But you have it on your heart. Is you are a segula. Teva kedusha Yerusha me'avot, and you receive it from Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. Velo b'tzidkatecha, not because you're tzaddik or not a tzaddik. Every Jew has it. Rak be'avotecha hashak Hashem b'chem. That's a pasuk in the Torah, no? The pasuk said, "Lo merubechem har Hashem b'chem." HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't pick you because you are numerous. Ki im me'ahavat Hashem etchem. HaKadosh Baruch Hu loved Hashevuah shenishba l'avotech, and he swore it to your forefathers. That's the power that the kedusha, and this is a Kuzari really explaining that. Rak me'avotecha ve'yivhar bezar'am acharehem. HaKadosh Baruch Hu choose us, give us a designation, a segula, because we are descendant of them. והייתם לי סגולה מכל העמים. והסגולה היא כוח קדוש פנימי. This is some power inside of you that is part of your soul, and it's it's like your DNA. הוא טבע בדבר המציאות. It's part of your nature. אי אפשר לא להשתנות כלל, you cannot change it. The DNA, maybe you can manipulate. כי הוא אמר ויהי, this is who הקדוש ברוך הוא said, ויעמידם לעד לעולם. That's one segula. There is a second part of the kedusha of the Jewish nation, is a behira, yeah, the capacity to choose. The capacity to choose, yeah, between good and bad, learning and not learning, that's depending on us. החלק של הסגולה, the first one is powerful, much powerful than the one of my behira, my choosing. Be'en arof, because it's eternal, it's in me. יותר גדול מחלק התלוי בבחירה, more than the one that depend on my action. But there is a problem. In order the segula to shine, in order to segula to come outside, yeah, you need something. In order to do that, need the action, need the behira, need your choices. You have it, but in order to make it out, to make it appreciate, to make it work, to initiate it, you have to go to the actions. But הכל תלוי לפי רוב המעשה וקדושת האמונה ותלמוד תורה. הבחירה is helping to uncover, to unveil who you really are. The bechira means the action. So every Jew has שני צדדים, two sides, סגולי ובחירי. סגולה that is in me, no matter what, and my action. הסגולה בזמן הזה מתגלה רק דרך הבחירה. In our days, in order to show what the segula, what is special in the Jewish nation, will depend on our action. If you want to shine us, it's depending on our action and our choices. In other words, Adam Shu Tzaddik have two greatness. Kedusha, because it's Tzaddik, Torah Ma'asim Tovim, and not only that, he unveiled the Kedusha that is inside of himself. So you see, the Kedusha doesn't depend on your action. So that's why, say the Rabbi continue, I am going to every Jew to find out, because I know Razeh Torah, and I can come and touch the Neshama, and I can rescue on them the Segula. And then as soon as he's going to be making the right choices, wow, the Segula is going to shine. This is Rav Kook. So you know what? This is the concept of Mahatzit HaShekel, to bring everyone to understand. Heta Eged, they did the golden calf. The golden calf was an exactly time to show the Bnei Israel, doesn't matter what you did wrong, you are still Am Israel. You are still aware you have on you this segula. So Mahatzit HaShekel was a kapara of Eged in order to show you, wait, you are only half, right? You part of Kelal Israel, of something who is stronger than what you're doing. Something who is much stronger when you mixed up. You know, in our 21st century, because I have to finish, I'm going to say it in 2 words. In our 21st century or 20th century, we have a concept that's called companies. A company can go up, chapter 11, and the company is responsible. I go to court, the company is talking about the company. Me, the owner of the company, if it is a company with be'eravon mugban, I don't know how you say that in English, a corporation. So the corporation has a life by itself. The corporation is not me. The corporation is responsible. In Judaism, that doesn't exist in halakha. You, a person, is responsible and is behind everything. But there is an exception. There is one corporation, Klal Israel. Klal Israel is the exception when I am putting my half shekel in, when I am investing my half shekel, my making a statement, I'm only a half of you. And that's go to the tzibur. By the way, I couldn't give my half shekel to the Bet HaMikdash. No, doesn't work. I cannot send a Venmo to the Bet HaMikdash. Doesn't work. Has to be done by the kupa of the tzibur. Yafeh, said the Gemara. Has to be done by the kupa of the tzibur. As a tzibur who is giving it. So my half shekel is part of this corporation who called Klal Israel. So that's the tikkun, because I am mixing myself with the kedusha who is innate, is part of us, is segula on me. That's the real kapara. This is only in counting. So imagine when you're doing korbanot, and imagine when you're feeding the adnei mishkan, the pillars of the Bet HaMikdash, the pillars of the Mishkan. All that is making us being a Klal Israel, and as a Klal Israel expressing what is our neshama segulit through Behira. What is the Behira? Through the fact that I'm putting my hands in the pocket and I decide to be counted. I want to be counted. Okay, I'm going to stop here. Baruch Adonai le'olam. Amen ve'amen.